First Maccabean, chapter 35. Because God is angered with you for failing to judge with justice, especially for the orphan, woe to you, leaders of Israel. Woe to those who spend their days drinking, become drunk morning and night, show favoritism in judgment, ignore the justice of widows and orphans, and live in sin and corruption. God says to the leaders, if you do not live according to my command, keep my law and love what I love, woe to you. I will bring destruction, punishment, and suffering upon you, and you will perish like things consumed by moths and decay. Your land and your presence will vanish. Your country will become a wasteland. Those who once knew it will look at it in shock and say, was this not once a land of abundance? It was destroyed because of the sins of those who lived there. They will say this land became proud, exalted itself, and hardened its heart. So God humbled it because of the arrogance of its people. It will be overgrown with weeds, thorns, and wild growth. It will become a desert, and wild animals will live there. God's judgment has been established upon it. It will drink the cup of judgment because of its arrogance and sin, and it will become a place of fear to all who pass by. That is the end of chapter 35. Chapter 36. People of Macedonia, do not boast, for God is the one who will bring you down. People of Amalek, do not harden your pride. You may rise high, even to the heavens, but you will be brought down to destruction. When Israel once entered Egypt during the time of Moab and Midian, it was said, do not boast, for no one can exalt themselves against God. You descendants of Ishmael, why do you exalt yourselves with what was not yours? Do you not know that God will judge you on the day of judgment when he rises to judge the earth? God says, you will receive according to your actions. Why do you lift up your pride? Why do you harden your heart? I will deal with you as you have dealt with others, because you acted according to your own desires and chose to do evil. I will abandon you in the place you have been sent. The Lord who rules all says, I will deal with you in this way. But if you do what is good and love what I love, I will hear you in everything you ask. If you fulfill my will, I will fulfill your desires. I will contend against your enemies on your behalf, and I will bless your children and your descendants. I will increase your flocks, sheep, and your cattle. If you remain in my command and do what I love, I will bless everything you put your hand to. But if you do not follow my will, if you do not live by my law and command, then all the tribulation spoken before will come upon you. You will not escape my anger, because you did not remain faithful to my law, and because you did not love what I love, though I created you from nothing into life. All this authority was given to you to judge, heal, build, destroy, honor, humble, raise up, and bring down. But because you neglected my worship and my praise, even though I gave you power and authority over others, you will not escape the judgment that is coming upon you. But if you do what God requires and remain faithful to his command, he will love you, and you will rejoice with him in his kingdom, and share in the inheritance of those who receive honor. For he has said, if they endure with me, I will give them favor and honor. I will make them rejoice in the place of worship. They will be chosen and beloved like an offering. Do not neglect to do what is good and beneficial, so that you may pass from death into life. Those who do what is right, God will preserve them in all their ways, so that they may belong to him, like Job, whom God protected through suffering. God will also preserve them like Abraham, whom saved in battle, and like Moses, whom he delivered from hostile nations and Pharaoh, even when he was pressured day and night to turn away and worship idols. When they brought him before idols, he endured suffering and refused to worship them. Abraham believed God from his youth and became his trusted friend. He refused idolatry and remained faithful to the God who created him. Because he loved God completely, he continued to worship him until his death. He never departed from God's law. He taught his children to keep it as well. Like their father Abraham, his descendants, Isaac and Jacob, did not turn away from God's law. God even declared before his messengers, "I have a friend on earth, Abraham." God said, "Abraham is my friend, Isaac is my trusted one, and Jacob is my beloved." They remained faithful and did not depart from his law. But when God loved the children of Israel, they continually angered him. Yet he endured them and still provided for them, feeding them with manna into the wilderness. Their clothes did not wear out, and their feet did not fail, for they were sustained by the provision God gave them. But their hearts continually turned away from God. From ancient times they practiced sin, and they had no hope of salvation while remaining in that state. They became like a crooked bow, unstable and unreliable. They did not become like their fathers Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob, who served God faithfully. Instead, they angered him continually through idol worship on mountains and hills. They ate and made offerings in high places, caves, and under trees. They slaughtered animals, offered sacrifices, celebrated in their own works, and consumed what they had offered. They drank from these sacrifices and celebrated with songs. But in doing so, they were engaging with demons. They gave themselves over to drunkenness, sexual immorality, and corruption without restraint. They practiced greed, theft, and injustice, things that God does not love. They worshipped idols such as Baal, Dagon, Artemis, and other foreign gods from surrounding nations. They followed the customs of other peoples, copying their rituals, their celebrations, their music, and their ways. All the people of Israel did the same, even while saying we worship God. But they did not keep his law or his commands given through Moses, which required them to turn away from idols. They were warned not to worship separate or foreign idols, but to remain devoted to the God of their fathers, who fed them honey, gave them grain, brought them into fruitful land, and sustained them with manna. Moses commanded them, "Do not worship idols, for he alone is your God. He provides for those who love him, and does not abandon those who seek him." Yet they did not stop angering God, even when he blessed them and made them prosper. They still turned against him. When they suffered because of their actions, they cried out to him, and he saved them from their distress. Then they prospered again and lived in peace for a time. But again they returned to sin, repeating what they had done before. So God raised up other nations against them, who oppressed them, taxed them, and brought them into hardship. Then once again they turned back and cried out to their God. God forgave them, not because of their own actions, but because of their fathers, Noah, Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob, who had served him faithfully from ancient times, and with whom he established his covenant. He loved those that kept his law, and desired to multiply their descendants like the stars of heaven and the sand of the sea. But when the dead are raised, many, like the sand of the sea, will be separated. These are souls of sinners, who will be removed from the people of Israel and cast into judgment. God said to Abraham, "Look at the stars in the heavens. If you can count them, so shall your righteous descendants be. They will shine like stars. These are souls of the righteous, and among Israel." And again he said, "Look at the sand by the sea. If you can count it, so also will your sinful descendants be. These are the ones who will descend into judgment when the dead are raised." Abraham believed in God, and it was counted to him as righteousness. He lived faithfully in this world, and even in old age, his wife Sarah bore a son, Isaac. For Abraham believed that those who do good will arise and enter the kingdom of heaven, a kingdom that endures forever, and he himself will inherit that kingdom. He also believed that those who practice sin will go to judgment, a place that endures forever, when the dead are raised, but the righteous who do what is good will reign with God forever. He believed that judgment will be carried out truly and eternally, without falsehood, upon those who practice sin, and that he himself would receive life in the kingdom of heaven. That is the end of the first book of the Maccabean.